Okay, welcome to the Movie Storm. This is a via request review. I'm not going to say who requested it because I literally cannot pronounce her name. You know who you are? So we are reviewing Dick Tracy versus Dick Tracy versus Cue Ball. Hold that thought. We pause for system identification. This is Bucky749 here on YouTube. I'm the American Samurai. We're back with the Movie Storm. Today reviewing Dick Tracy versus Cue Ball. By request. I'm not gonna say who requested because, like I said, I literally cannot pronounce her name. Just numbers and letters. I don't know how she says her name. But anyways, you know who you are. We're gonna look at Dick Tracy versus Cue Ball. This is part of the Dick Tracy series done by RKO. So essentially a bunch of low-budget pictures that brought the Dick Tracy character to screen. But for some reason, you know, they brought Dick Tracy and a bunch of his characters to screen. The characters from the screen, they didn't bring the villain to screen. So essentially like the old movie serials with Batman. We have Batman, we have Robin, but the villain is some generic villain. In this case, the villain is Cue Ball, who I think is supposed to be a stand-in for either... I'm thinking he's supposed to kind of like Flat Top, since he's a serial... Well, he ends up being a serial killer. Yeah, this is kind of a crime noir, black and white, 82 minutes. Dick Tracy, who in this movie played by Mark Conway, faces one of his most evil adversaries in the form of Cue Ball, a ruthless criminal played by a very scary Dick Wizzle. Cue Ball has been betrayed by his gang members and now exposing them one by one. That's not really what's happened. You can't go by these descriptions here. What happens is, that may have happened at one point, but he kind of doesn't care about that. What happens is, he steals some diamonds, and they're not giving him the full worth, and he starts killing people who get in his way. And his signature weapon is the hat band that he uses. It gets destroyed at one point, but then he gets another one, so he must have like multiples of this hat band that he must have made in prison. I don't know what the story is. But the real standout in this movie is probably Vitamin Flintheart. I don't tell you who plays him, but he is the real standout character in this movie. I think he steals every scene he's in. But we also get not just Dick Tracy, but Pat Patton, who was in the other movie I've seen, which is Dick Tracy vs. Gruesome. We also get Junior Tracy, his friend Butch, Chess Trueheart. You actually get a lot more of the supporting cast in this movie than you have in the other movie I saw, which is Dick Tracy vs. Gruesome. But I do like that movie more. And some other characters that would be in the other movie as well. The guy with the big glasses is in this movie as well, but in that movie it was called X-Ray, which I like that name better. In this, they just give him a regular name. But overall, it was an okay movie. I give it a 4 out of 5. I would recommend watching it. I think you can find this up on YouTube because I think it's in the public domain. And it's a pretty good noir movie. Nothing spectacular. I think some of the stand-up parts are like when Pat Patton's in Dick Tracy's car, and new police officer comes up and says, "Oh, and I suppose you think you're Pat Patton." And he goes, "Who are you then?" "I'm Pat Patton." Literally, they don't realize that this is actually Pat Patton they're talking to. It's kind of funny because they actually take him in and book him for being in a police officer's car, not realizing he's Pat Patton. I don't know if that happened in the 90s movie. I've not seen that one. But yeah, overall, 4 out of 5. An okay movie, but I still like Dick Tracy vs. Gruesome better. I think it just depends with these movies, which one you saw first, probably the one you like the best. But like I said, 4 out of 5 for me. So, yeah. And like I said, if you watch specifically the part with Vitamin Flintheart. He steals the movie for me. Alright, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon if you know. Hope you enjoyed this movie storm. Until next time, this storm is over. And I'll see you next time on the Movie Storm.